What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Freedom Fire podcast, where we want to stoke the flames of freedom every single day. My name is Kendall Bowman. I got a loaded show for you guys today, but before we get into that, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, and share the show with your friends. Follow me on all the socials down in the description, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out new videos. All right, guys, let's get into this. From Timcast, Kansas Republicans passed bill to define a woman as a biological female for all legal purposes. 0 Democrats vote in favor. The Republican lawmakers in Kansas have passed a bill in the Senate to define a woman as a biological female for all legal purposes, with 0 report from their Democratic colleagues. The bill, SB 180, would establish a woman's Bill of Rights and passed 26-10 along party lines on Thursday. Though it easily passed the Senate, it is unlikely to be signed by Democratic Governor Laura Kelly. She has previously vetoed a bill to ban biological males from participating in girls' and women's sports. State Senator Renee Erickson explained to the Washington Times that the bill is meant to define woman as clarification for single-sex facilities run by the state, such as prisons. What this does is simply codify in the law the definition of sex, Erickson told the Washington Times. It simply says that in an existing statute or law where there is a definition of sex, it means biological male and female as determined at birth. That's very factual. It's very objective. The Kansas Senate Democratic Party blasted the legislation on Twitter, calling it an effort to ban trans people from public spaces. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Okay, Kendall, why on earth is something like this so important? Well, it's important because the divide has gotten so serious, the divide has gotten so crazy that a bill like this is necessary because of stories just like this. From Timcast, prosecutor suspended for misgendering or deadnaming a convicted child molester accused of murder. Let's read. Los Angeles District Attorney George Gascon suspended Shea Sana, the lead prosecutor of 26-year-old convicted child molester James Tubbs, who now goes by Hannah. Sana was reportedly suspended for 5 days without pay. Tubbs is currently accused of beating a man to death with a rock in a Kern County forest. The lead prosecutor alleged Tubbs has attempted to use their transgender identity to game the justice system, which led to Gascon's decision to suspend the attorney, per Fox News. I was suspended for speaking out against the Gascon administration, Sana wrote. Misgendering Tubbs while informing them that they were being played is just their excuse for the suspension. Now, I don't know what the reason for this suspension, the suspension of this woman is, but at the end of the day, we have reached a stage in our society where the Republicans on the right want this to be done. We want to go back to the way that things have been for literally all of human history, where it was biological males, biological females, and that was it. The left is now taking into account the feelings and the imagination and the mental illness of a convicted child molester. And yes, body dysmorphia, gender dysphoria, yes, they are mental illnesses. We are pushing further mental illness by even taking this person's feelings into account. Not even considering the fact that he's a convicted child molester who, let's be honest, doesn't really deserve to have their feelings considered. Absolutely insane, guys. Absolutely insane. We as a society have got to, we've got to put a stop to this. The fact that we are not in the streets speaking up about this, protesting things like this, like, I get it. There's a lot of states out there who are doing a lot of good work, who are passing a lot of bills. I believe that Nate Shastline, who is a representative in the Texas legislature, has put out a couple of bills to try and stop a lot of the transgender movement. There's several other states who are also doing similar things. But, guys, this is getting out of hand. This is a convicted child molester, and he's being accused of murder. This is a man who doesn't deserve to have his feelings considered. Now, that's not to say that he can't, be put in the correct prison, obviously. but we need to be doing that based off of his biological sex. And yes, I'm going to call him because that is what he is. People with gender dysphoria have a mental illness. It is a mental illness. You do not affirm that. You cure that. You help that. You solve that. You don't affirm it. You don't tell them, "Oh yeah, you're right." You don't say to the person that thinks that they're a toaster, "Oh yeah, you're a toaster. Make me some bread." That's not how this works, guys. And any real psychologist would tell you that. And that's going to lead me into my next story. But before we get into that, if you guys haven't liked and subscribed, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section if you like my commentary or if you want to talk. And that's going to lead me right into this story here. From Timcast, detransitioner Chloe Cole announces lawsuit against Kaiser Permanente. Chloe Cole, a woman who previously identified as a transgender man, announced an official lawsuit against Kaiser Permanente for facilitating her gender transition. Cole received a double mastectomy and was prescribed a series of off-label puberty-blocking drugs and cross-sex hormones as a minor through the medical provider. In November 2022, the detransitioner filed a notice of intent to sue the hospital, though was ignored for 90 days, which left Cole with no choice but to seek justice from a court of law, the Daily Wire reported. The Center for American Liberty, along with the Dillon Law Group and Lamondra and Jana LLP, representing Cole, and filed a lawsuit against the Permanente Medical Group, Kaiser Foundation Health Plan, and Kaiser Foundation Hospitals. The lawsuit alleges medical negligence in providing chemical and surgical interventions to facilitate Cole's sex change between the ages of 13 and 16, according to the outlet. Chloe's family sought medical treatment for her at Kaiser, said Harmeet Dillon, attorney and CEO of the Center for American Liberty. Her physicians and the medical professionals violated the first norm of the profession, the Hippocratic Oath, when instead of caring for her and providing medical competent diagnoses and treatment, they permanently disfigured her for profit. Sorry, guys. Apparently English is hard for me today. What happened to Chloe at Kaiser should never happen to any child in America. And the Center for American Liberty is committed to protecting children like Chloe, she continued. The lawsuit further alleges Cole was coerced into pursuing her sex change while concealing less invasive treatments and by lying to her about her condition, according to a press release. Her direct quote is, "I was 15 when you cut into my body, ripped out my breasts, and stitched me back up like I was your rag doll," Cole said during a Thursday press conference in front of Kaiser Gender Pathways Clinic in Oakland, California, suggesting the hospital is victimizing thousands of children with Mengele-style experiments. For any of you who do not know who Josef Mengele is, I believe that's his first name, but he was a member of a certain party over in Germany during the old 1930s and 1940s, and he was a doctor for the state where they would do many disgusting and horrific experiments on the Jewish people at the time and some other people. He also was able to escape after the war was over and was able to get to South America, where he continued his experiments. Yeah, not a good guy. And I think they're right. These are Mengele-style experiments that they are conducting on people. And this is something that has happened over in the UK. I believe there's a recent facility. I think it's called the Tavistock facility. Tavistock, something like that. It was recently shut down because of stuff like this. Exactly this. They're taking these children. They're lying to them about their mental illness. For example, gender dysphoria. If you just leave these kids alone, 90% of them will grow out of their gender dysphoria by the time they turn 18, 19 years old. The psychology literature has stated this multiple times. This is everywhere. You cannot deny this. 90% of these kids will grow out of this by the time they are 18, 19 years old. But instead of allowing that to happen and eventually allowing them to make the choice for themselves whenever they become an adult, no, we got to rip their breasts out now because we have to affirm their gender. And what's incredible about that is that they will tell you as a parent. And mind you, I'm getting a lot of this information from the Jordan Peterson podcast that he did an episode where he interviewed Miss Chloe Cole here. I highly recommend that every single person go watch this, especially if you are a parent, because it gives a lot of insight into how a lot of these gender facilities, they are lying to not only these children, but they're lying to you. They're trying to, ultimately, they are trying to get your child to do these surgeries, to take these hormones, because they come with a lot of problems with them. There's a lot of side effects to these issues, and these children are stuck being victims of this for their entire life. Those side effects do not go away for a long time. And ultimately, they end up having to spend more money with these facilities to have to deal with those side effects. It always goes back to money, doesn't it? Always goes back to money and greed. Let's go ahead and cut a child's perfectly good sex organs off so that we can make more money, so that we can force them to keep having to come back to us. Absolutely evil, man. Absolutely evil. Yeah, I believe that this is an incredible thing. I think that we need more stuff like this. The Tavistock facility over in the UK was recently shut down, and there's over 1,000 lawsuits against that one facility, because of things like this. And honestly, guys, I think that that's what it's going to take. I think that we're going to have to get that we're going to have to start suing these people. Every time we hear a story like this, every time we see something like this, we have to start suing these people. We have to start hurting them in their pockets every time, or else this is not going to change. Now, we're starting to see a lot of states, like I said in my previous story, who are fighting back against this, who are keeping this. But then, of course, you've got the story of Jeff Younger, where he's a Texas man. His family was living in Texas. And then his wife divorced him and decided to become a crazy psychopath. And she wants to take her son to the state of California so that she can chemically castrate him, so that she can cut his balls off, essentially. And I know that sounds harsh. I know that sounds gross, but that's the reality of the world we're living in, guys. That's what we're seeing every day, is this level of psychopathy. It's absolutely insane. We have to be fighting back. We have to be pushing back against this. We can't keep waiting for states to pass laws, because there's going to be states that are not going to pass these laws because they're controlled by liberal Democrat psychopaths who want to cut up your children. And mind you, the reason why she was allowed to do this, the reason why this was even allowed to happen to this young girl, was that if you go and you listen to that podcast I just mentioned to you, where she did an interview with Jordan Peterson, she explained that they were these psychologists that she was meeting with to try to get an idea of her mental health throughout this process were lying to her. They were basically just saying, "Oh, you think you're a boy? Okay, well then you're a boy. Yeah, And the excuse that they gave for this was that, oh, if you don't affirm this girl's gender, she's going to commit suicide. And I find that hilarious, and this was mentioned in the podcast as well, because if a person with gender dysphoria needs to have their gender affirmed or they'll commit suicide, then you should be able to look back through history and see a massive correlation, see a massive spike in people with gender dysphoria committing suicide. Because obviously throughout history, there's almost, I would say that there's basically no nation throughout the entirety of American history who has affirmed this idea, who has affirmed this mental illness. And it's a lie. Parents, they're lying to you. Don't fall for this. They're lying to you to try and get your kid to have to take these drugs, to have to get this surgery so that they can make a permanent victim, so that they can make a permanent customer out of your child. Your child will be castrated. Your child will have so many side effects that they will have to deal with for the rest of their life, and that turns them into a permanent customer for these facilities and for these drug companies. We have to fight back. We have to stop it. We have to speak up. Get in the streets. Call your reps. We have to be passing bills. We need to be protesting. We need to be suing these facilities. And we got to do it now. We got to do it quick. We cannot keep allowing stuff like this to happen to these children. It's happening over in the UK right now. Like I said, thousands of lawsuits happening against certain facilities over in the UK. They're doing it right. We have to get it together. We have to do right by our children and put a stop to this. All right, guys, that's going to be my show for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't hit the like button, subscribe button, please do so. Leave a comment down in the comment section. Tell me what you think of all this stuff. If you would like to debate some of this stuff, that's fine. I have no problem talking to people, but like I said in my last video, if you're just going to be a jerk, you're going to get ignored. I got no time for people who are just going to call me names. Like I said, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, share the show with your friends, follow me on all the socials down in the description, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified of whenever we put out new videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.